So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot.
Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Kick it.
Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Hello.
Hi,
You.
I'm blessed. How are you doing?
I'm holding on.
Mm.
Look, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Look, they told me I was going to get this interview, and I said, yeah, no way. Absolutely no way. So you got to let me get this fangirl moment out of my system.
Oh,
Thank you so much for your contribution and your dedication and the sacrifice, because I know a lot of that is there. And I can't wait to get into this. So, to the world, we have the world renowned Tony Award winner, because you got to put a handle on that. You know what I mean? Tony Award winner, Jennifer Jones. How are you?
oh, I am blessed today. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I very much appreciate it.
No, no worries. This is an extension of your office. You know, you have been extremely busy. And when we start talking about trailblazers and thinking about the world of entertainment and how much we love different things, but may not take heed to the sacrifices that people have made to pave the way, not just for themselves, but for others. As the first African American Rockette, world renowned. They're about to celebrate 100 years, right? And
Yes.
knowing that you wanted to do this, but there was no representation there. What made you even walk through the doors to say, I'm going to give this a shot?
Well, it's a very interesting story. To be honest with you, when I auditioned for the Rockettes, I had no idea who they were. Growing up, my parents were big Broadway enthusiasts, and they would see every Broadway show. Pippin with Ben Vereen, Hair, Jesus Christ Superstar, and when The Wiz came to Broadway with Stephanie Mills and Andre DeShields and Hinton Battle, Mabel King, and it was kid friendly. It was important for them to show me and my sister representation in the arts. And they
Yes.
took my sister and I to see the show 5 times. And each time I saw the show, I was transported into Oz. And by the fifth time I saw it, I knew I wanted to do what they did on that stage and walk out of a backstage door. We would wait for their autographs, and it was just magical to me. And I didn't know at the age of 9 years old what training that would take or the hard work that would have to go into that.
Yeah.
But when I decided that I really wanted to dance professionally, I studied at Broadway Dance Center, and there was a trades paper that came out every week called The Backstage, and it would have a list of auditions. And I was looking for my big Broadway break.
Right.
And the Rockettes had an audition in there. And a friend of mine said, Jennifer, you should go to the Rockettes audition. You'd be a perfect Rockette.
It's good to
I
have
had
great friends that see that in you.
Yes, yes. And I woke up the morning of the audition because I was always nervous at auditions. I never knew what to wear, how to do my hair, my makeup. I was 19 years old. So I went to the audition to try to brush up on my technique. And I got to the music hall, and the line was draped with beautiful women outside the music hall that knew how to do their hair. They knew
Right.
how to do their makeup. And I didn't see another woman on the line like me. And I was going to leave numerous times. I thought if I leave right now, I can make my favorite jazz class. And
Mhm.
just as I was about to step off the line, of my inner voice said, stay, almost so much it like pushed me back
Right.
and it forced me to stay. And I did. And if I didn't stay on that line, if I did not listen to my inner guidance system, I never would have made it to the Rockette line. And it would take me my 15-year tenure with the Rockettes to learn the history of what it was about. So that was when I was learning the history and my role in history as well.
It's really important that you mentioned your family taking you to something that exposed you to something that was different. It meant something to them to expose you to different things, and you sat there, and all 5 times, I can guarantee that you saw something different that you did not see
Yes.
beforehand, from the stage hands to the lights to the staging, the singing, the dancing. It was something there that sparked something in you. But if you did
Mhm.
not dedicate yourself to it, it would have just been another good show and another great
Right.
idea. And to have that friend
Absolutely.
to see something in you and for you to say, you know what, it may not be a bad idea. And along those steps, wanting to get out of that line, but deciding to stay. And you stayed for
Mhm.
15 years. Do you
15
know how much you
years.
had to kick and dance within those 15 years? So walk me through the
Yes.
process of what does it take to be a Rockette once you're finally on that line?
Oh, it is learning Rockette terminology, the Rockette language, the Rockette precision,
Mm.
how to break into 3 lines seamlessly. And it was difficult. And it was especially difficult being the first Black woman on the line when there were ladies who made it clear that I was not welcome. People in management made it clear, and people across the country. So I leaned into the ladies that wanted me there and wanted me to be a Rockette just like them. And I loved dancing. I knew at 9 years old that it was in every cell that I needed to be on a stage and walk out of a backstage door. And no matter what, I was going to live my dream despite anything that was being told.
Right. And throughout that journey, you had so many pages that you inked because chapter after chapter after chapter, your level of transparency told stories that we may not have seen while you were in action, but those
Mm-hmm.
lessons that you learned while you started inking some of these journeys and you decided to share it with the world. How did you know this is a part that I want to be vulnerable enough to share and not just hold it back?
It was Writing was very therapeutic, and it was difficult to decide exactly what to share, but I felt like I needed to share my journey for
Right.
history, Black history, dance history, the Rockette history. All of that is so important. And I felt like Radio City, Madison Square Garden was trying to erase our Black history in that. And I
Mhm.
needed to share that. And I felt it was important to expose everything that had happened, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Absolutely. And in 2023, you wrote the acclaimed children's book, On the
Mhm.
Line, My Story of Becoming the First African American Rockette. HarperCollins, hats off to you for assisting with this because that was a major
Yes.
play on saying that we need to be a part of this, letting you create the narrative and sharing that story. So many people could sit back on the sidelines and say, no, I don't want to even play that game. I'm going to let her tell the story
Mhm.
if she can, how she can, where she can. But for them to stand in solidarity and say, this is something that we want to come along the journey with you, that is so big. I know that now it's a part of the Library of Congress's children's book collection.
Yes. So on the line, we'll be representing the state of New Jersey in the book fair that they have this September 6th in the Library of Congress. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I am going to attend the book fair and celebrate all of the books that have been representing their state. It's just an amazing honor to have that recognized.
Tell us a little bit about that book, On the Line, My Story of Becoming.
So I wanted to write a children's book because I believe every child has a spark in them of what they love to do. And of course, mine was the love of dancing. And my favorite line is the last page of the book, where I hope it sparks a conversation between the parent and child to find out what that child loves to do. No, if it's baseball or being an astronaut or a chef, and having that conversation and having the parents foster that interest in their kids. Maybe that is something that they didn't know about, just like my parents fostered my love of dance and bringing me to a Broadway show and keeping me at dance classes. So I'm hoping that it involves a deep conversation, and I hope that I can be an inspiration for that child to always remember that, to follow your dreams in your inner gut.
Yes, and a reminder for the parents because it's
Yes.
important. It does take a village. And for all of those dance teachers who may, enjoy what they're doing and they don't get the chance to see it on the other side, just know that you're nurturing something in the present that is so spectacular in the future with these children. Thank you for that because that's an artistry that allows them to just be. And you don't see enough kids just enjoying themselves and doing the simple things that really make their character different, makes them stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe every child has a spark and it needs to be nurtured, and their gift needs to be shown to the world, because if it's not, they not only do they lose out on dimming their light, but we lose out on their gift as well as a community.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about becoming spectacular, the rhythm of resilience.
I wanted to write a book about my life, the ups and the downs, because there's so many different themes within the book. There are so many different challenges that I went through, and
Mhm.
I'm hoping that people can pick on one thing that they may be having a challenge with and say, oh, she got through it, maybe I can too. I begin with my childhood. I talk about my Rockette journey. I talk about finally becoming on Broadway and winning the Tony for Best Revival of a Musical.
Yes.
I talk about my divorce. I talk about my cancer challenge. And I just think that there's so much there. Some people think that, oh, she's a first, she made it. But there are so many challenges in life. No one gets through this life unscathed. And I wanted to show the world that resilience is always within and we can always persevere.
Yeah. And understanding that once you showed up and you were the first, did you feel the pressure for those that may come behind you? Did you feel like I got to get this right, or they may not let another come?
I didn't realize the magnitude of it at 20 years old. When I first joined the Rockettes, a PR person pulled me aside right before my debut performance, the 22 Super Bowl halftime show. And she told me that I was old news, no one cares about my story, and I was lucky to be there. And
Oh,
I felt that way for years. I felt like I wasn't talented enough. I was lucky to be there. So it was years of peeling away like the layers of an onion to realize that she really didn't want me there. These
hmm.
were her views. So when I was establishing, trying to get same skin tone tights, that was a challenge. And I later learned the other Black women on the line were still fighting for the same things I was. But now, and as they're celebrating their 100th year anniversary this year, all the ladies have skin tone tights, mesh costumes, shoes that match, and they are put 100% together so they can perform their best. It was a long battle, but we got there.
Yeah, and thank you for that. People may not understand the little things that make a big difference, right? So in the world of radio, it might be a microphone or a setting. For you, it could be something like the tights or whatever that tool may be for you to make you feel like your job, you're doing it at the highest frequency because everything is a part of what needs to be there. For someone to pull you to the side and say that you're lucky to be there, I know that
Mm,
has to ring in your ear. Even hearing you say that sends a chill to me because it's still people giving you what they want to push you out of the door because the only thing that could have stopped you in that moment is if you would have just not showed up. If you would have stopped
yes,
showing up. Her words didn't do it alone, but
yes.
they were a factor, but they didn't do it alone.
Absolutely. And especially having it said to me right before my debut performance,
Sure.
I think maybe she wanted to have me mess up on the line and say, see, well, we tried and it didn't work.
Right.
There are so many things that could have happened. But again, my love for dance, you know, nothing
Yeah.
can stop that. And I believe that's for everyone.
Absolutely. And one thing is for sure, you weren't picked, you were chosen. You were destined
Thank
to
you.
do what you do and to be able to sit here and tell that story
Mm,
right now because it's your story, your journey to tell. And even going through the challenges, that's the part that no one really likes to share because, we live in a microwave society. We want to show the hashtag, the
yeah,
retweets, and the perfected
yeah,
reels. No one wants to talk about the divorce or the cancer
yeah.
battles. But now that you're on the other side of that, what would be the highlight for you in this moment, knowing that there was a light at the end of that tunnel?
Ah, well, when you're going through something, you never know what the outcome is. You never know, but you can only try. And the light for me, I believe, part of my journey, part of my platform is sharing my story, especially with the colorectal cancer when I was diagnosed at the age of 50, stage 3. In the
Wow.
African American community, we are 40% more likely to get it and 20% more likely to die from it. We need to have these difficult conversations. We need to talk about our challenges and what we go through. And in doing so, I've helped others, which I am so thrilled about. We have to have these conversations about my divorce. Yeah, it was difficult. It was horrible, but we can get through it. And we do have these challenges, but if we all get together and we push one another to work through them, we can all, be where we need to be in life and share everything.
You are definitely a beacon of light, and many will call it dark times, but as long as we have hearts like yours that's dedicated and so transparent and so pure, the world sees that and there's healing in that, not just for yourself, but for others. And just keep showing
Thank
up.
you.
Just keep showing up. Keep
Thank you.
kicking. How about that? Keep showing up and keep
Yes.
kicking, my girl. Look, but wait a second now, because we have these limited edition dolls. And I'm gonna need to get one of these dolls, and I need to find a way to get mine autographed. Tell me about this.
So I wanted something tangible, especially to go with my children's book that the kids can hold on to for remembering that thoughts become things, dreams come true, never give up. So I designed Dancing Jen, and you can get her on Walmart Marketplace, Dancing Jen doll, and I can sign it for you. They can be signed upon request. And it was just something I had in my mind that I felt a need to make, and so I designed her.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
From being an author to being in all these museums and having your own doll. Girl, listen, you are her. And don't you dare let them tell you different, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Look, I know you have more work to do, so I'm gonna let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way,
Mm,
get after it. I love you,
I
and there's
will.
absolutely nothing you can do about it.
I love you too.
Thank you so much.